Surah Al-Imran verse 17. The patient and the truthful and the obedient. And those who spend in the way of Allah and those who seek forgiveness before dawn. Summary of the interpretation of verse 17 of Surah Al-Imran. These verses clarify the characteristics of those who fear God, for whom God has prepared gardens beneath which rivers flow, and purified spouses, and greater pleasure from God. They are patient, truthful, obedient, spending in the way of God, and seeking forgiveness before dawn. The patient in obeying God, so we must be patient in fulfilling God's commands. Because the religious commands are difficult because they restrict the freedom of the servant. There are several types of patient people: those who are patient in obedience and its hardships, those who are patient in the face of sins and their temptations, and those who are patient in the face of the predestined events that befall them without their choosing. We then come to another description in which God says, "And the truthful." Truthfulness is true speech that corresponds to the reality that actually occurred. Among the characteristics of the believer is truthfulness, and faith in the one God is the pinnacle of truthfulness. They testify and affirm with their tongues and hearts that there is no God but God, and all their actions are in accordance with His path, and testify that there is no God but God, in word and deed. The most severe type of disbelief and the most severe type of lying is the hypocrite. He is neither truthful to himself nor to people. He vacillates between these two. He says with his tongue, "There is no God but God, there is no true deity but God," then he disobeys his Lord with his actions that contradict God's command. And the obedient submission to God. He is the one who worships with humility and reassurance. And the obedient submission to God is truthful with himself, submitting to God. The spenders. They are those who spend from their wealth seeking God's pleasure. The believer knows that spending is not taking from the servant, rather, it is a gift from God. This movement in life requires a mind that plans. The movement, limbs that implement the intellectual plan, and a material in which the action is carried out, whether it be land to be cultivated or a machine to be used for manufacturing. Man has nothing of this in the universe. The brain that manages is a gift from God. And the energy that is expended is a gift from God. We see in life a person from whom God has stripped the brain that thinks and manages, and we find another person from whom God has stripped the energy that is expended. God may withhold from a servant the substance with which he interacts. Therefore, none of these things are inherent to the human being, they are all gifts from God. Let the believer work to gain from God, and let the believer give to the weak God's due. God Almighty has placed in patience the firmness of faith in the human soul. In truthfulness, in harmony with the reality that there is no God but God. And in spending, in protection of the weak who cannot afford it. And those who seek forgiveness before dawn. The believer seeks forgiveness from his Lord, either because he has committed a sin, or because he has not increased his acts of obedience. They seek forgiveness before dawn, when the night is still, and he distributes his mercy. When a person wakes up before dawn and supplicates to God and seeks his forgiveness, he receives from God's mercy. That descends. When this servant receives from God's mercy that descends at that time, this means That he will receive a great deal of mercy, and God's mercy will not be exhausted.